However, solely from what I've covered in this video, this is one of my most hyped games for this year. More than Minecraft Legends, more than Pikmin 4, heck, even more than Tears of the Kingdom. Can you tell I'm not a Zelda fan?
And finally, our first delay announcement.
It's about time.
And it's a really good one. Pepper Grinder from RH will be digging and diving into 2024 like an auger.
Thank goodness it got delayed. There is nothing going on this year. Oh, sorry, Endless Ocean fans, I forgot about you, as did everyone else. Pepper Grinder, drill fast, kill enemies with a blast, and don't get last. The game has you speed through levels with a drill, with most levels introducing a new mechanic. I've been anticipating this game for years, so I was hoping when it came out, it would be great. Otherwise, I would have to make the thumbnail look like this. Luckily, it was incredible. For me, it was all things challenging, exciting, and overall just fun. But what did everyone else think? It was received well, mostly getting 7s and 8s, and even a few 9s, but I couldn't help but notice one consistent critique in the reviews.
The only real and rather minor complaint we have about Pepper Grinder is that there simply isn't enough of it.
Pepper Grinder may be a little on the short side.
Pepper Grinder is here for a good time, not a long time.
Under 4 hours.
4 to 6 hours.
3 hours.
4 hours.
3 hours.
4 to 6 hours to beat, and maybe a few more if you collect everything and nail the gold times in the time attack.
This was my final time after beating the game. Just over 12 hours. So am I calling all these reviewers scumbag liars who need to be killed at a moment's notice? Well, yes, but not for that reason. Only about 4 of these hours were actually spent going through the game, with the rest of them being used to improve my time in levels. This is a speedrunning game. If you want to, you can go faster through levels to get more rewards. And these 12 hours are what make me think that the reviewers saying the completion time for 100% is 7 hours seems a little bit low. Look at my 12 hours. Only 44% of the game was complete. What? This is not some generic 2D platformer you run through quickly once and then never play again. This nearly perfects the speedrunning genre of gaming. And that probably explains why it reminds me so much of another hit indie speedrunning game. Neon White is a 3D card-based action platformer with its roots in speedrunning. The gameplay is incredible, I said gameplay, but what I really liked is how you get rewarded depending on how quickly you complete a level, with different times giving you different medals. This encouraged you to play each level over and over again. Over and over again. Sorry, that reminded me of something. What was I saying? So unless this is a repeat playthrough and you already know the level well, you're probably gonna have to play multiple times to get the best time. But with every level having pretty major skips, it's fun to go back and find better paths until you get a time you're happy with. But how does this tie into Pepper Grinder? Well, it's similar to Neon White, having a time-based medal system where you get more scrapbook stickers based on how fast you go, but here's where it differs from it, and where my biggest gripe with the game comes into play. It is required for you to beat the level once before you can get rewarded for your time. And time? Yeah, that's world record. Great job, man. Just do it again. I don't even know what to say about this. I think the devs wanted the player to be able to learn the layout and the mechanics of the level before speedrunning it, but it also means that 100% speedrunners have to play each level twice. This doesn't ruin the game or anything, but neither would combining normal mode and time trials. And you're not gonna believe this, but this actually reminds me of another hit indie game.
The industry's greatest creative and technical forces, Mark Cerny, PlayStation's lead system architect. Thank you for being here, Mark. Of course, the team behind Pizza Towers here, too.
But for this to work, I'm gonna have to give Pepper Grinder's side of the story first, because I feel like I've been avoiding talking about what this game actually is. I'm sure you already get the basic idea, use a drill to get from point A to point B with high-speed action in between, but this game has a surprising amount of content, with basically every new level introducing a new mechanic. From grappling hooks to sprinklers to giant mech suits to goop, The variety this game has in store is crazy. It makes the game even more replayable than it already is, because some of these are only used in one level and then never again. To remember all of them, you'll probably want to play the game over and over again. Pizza Tower. Much like Pepper Grinder, it has new mechanics in every level, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. The whole reason I brought it up initially was because of the time trials in Pepper Grinder. That reminded me of Pizza Tower's Lap 2, which adds more challenge to a level while also rewarding more points and being necessary to 100% the game with P ranks. But it only appears after you've beaten the level once, meaning that, just like Pepper Grinder to 100% the game, you have to play every level twice. But there's a caveat for speedrunners. By beating the tutorial quickly, every Lap 2 portal immediately unlocks. Plus, if you're using it to P rank, you'll also need to know the location of at least 10 other secrets. So it's very understandable why you'd want to play the level once before using it. With Pepper Grinder, you don't need to collect all of the secret pirate coins to get a gold medal, you just have to go fast. Tying back to Neon White, you don't have to play the level once before getting the best medal. If you beat the level fast enough, that's set in stone. But what is different is that even if you aren't fast enough, it will still show you the time goals of the level, motivating you to replay it and get the best possible time. But in Pepper Grinder, if you're not in time trials, the end of the level only shows the time of completion. You won't see the medals unless you reselect the level, but unless you're going back for pirate coins, you don't have much of a reason to do so. But what would I use those for? Boring hair? No thanks? Alongside putting a timer at the top of the screen, the time trial mode also removes checkpoints after you die, forcing you to get a perfect run in one try. So is this supposed to validate the mode? Not really, because you can just restart from the pause menu in casual mode, which takes you back to the start of the level, faster than dying does because there's no death animation. So if you combined normal mode and time trial mode and left in death checkpoints, all it would do is worsen the final time if the player died, encouraging them to restart the level instead of forcing them to. At least show the different time milestones at the end of the level in normal mode. I'm not joking about how much this can make the player want to play the game over and over and over and over and over. Or at least that's what I got from this note I wrote that reads, quote, "Time trials kinda like Neon White meets Pizza Tower?" But I should stop comparing this game to other indie greats and look at it as its own thing, because that whole rant I just went on, nitpick much? So now I'm gonna go through the whole game and show some of my favorite and least favorite parts of it. And that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, before we get to all the actually good stuff, I have a few more grievances to get out of the way. The water sprinklers do not need to make you come to a full stop. Why do the gears get rid of all of your momentum? Controls become really sluggish in water. This power sled has a really cool concept, but you know what the controls boil down to? Boom bam. Okay, first up for positives is the swing hook, although I'll admit it took me a while to get used to this. I remember thinking this was going to ruin the whole game for me, but now that I have a hang of it, I love this mechanic. It really helps you ramp up your speed. They also made another variation of this that just takes you from point A to point B, which works, but isn't as fun. Next up, we have the giant mech suit, which I love, but it kinda reminds me of the Nintendo Labo robot kit in the sense that it's kinda awkward to move around with, but all the power it gives you makes you feel like a giant. Just look at all these fighter planes just immediately rumble. I'll quickly mention water skipping because it's barely ever used in the actual game, but it's really fun and I wish it was utilized more. It's pretty hard to get a grasp of, but when you realize it, you'll feel like an idiot for not realizing it sooner. Some levels have rockets that you need to use to break ice blocks in your path, and while they make you stop, they feel actually meaningful. Some other mechanics that make you stop feel like they could have just been an on-off switch. The only thing annoying about this mechanic is that it can be pretty hard to aim. Just a little beam of light letting me know where it's going would be nice. And of course, we have the Giants, the silliest mechanic in the game. He's just here for a little bit of the game to act as a platform and let you see what's going on in his head. Wow, that's a tiny brain. And there are so many other great mechanics in this game I'd love to cover, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. This game is one of those rare indie gems that was made by one guy over the course of 5 years. I really recommend you checking it out. I know I went on like a 5-minute rant about it earlier, but it's seriously great. If you like high-speed platformers like Celeste and Pizza Tower, you will love this game. And guess what? It's only $15. This is definitely a game I'll come back to over the years to play over and over again. 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 Over and over. Where is that quote from? Roguelike? Oh my gosh. That's it! Splatoon. Of course, it always comes back to Splatoon.
We're developing this single-player DLC so it can be played over and over again.
I just need to find a way to play it without getting caught. But as long as nothing bad happens to me anytime soon, I should be fine. Oh, come on.